What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we got some interesting leaked audio of undefeated two-time heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer Tyson the Gypsy King Fury and his co-promoter in the UK, Queensberry Promotions CEO and promoter, Frank Warren. They're on an interview and they're talking about, this is an interview in the UK, and they're discussing the possibilities of fighting Deontay Wilder, former Olympic bronze medalist, former reigning WBC heavyweight world champion, American superstar boxer, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. This is all in build-up to the Trilogy match. Now keep in mind, Frank Warren, Tyson Fury, and legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO, Bob Arum, who co-promotes Tyson Fury here in the States, they stated that it was indeed Deontay Wilder and his team and his manager, Shelly Finkel, and his team, they dropped the ball. They didn't meet the deadline, October 15th. Well, you can hear in this audio that was anything but the case. And now in this leaked footage, you can hear Frank Warren and Tyson Fury clearly stating that they had no interest and no plans to fight Deontay Wilder in a big, huge, lucrative bout without fans in attendance. And they stated that this is a fight that needs to take place stateside in the United States. And because in the United States, due to the pandemic, due to social distancing, they're not allowing fans in attendance at all these venues. Actually, there's only a few states currently that have fans that's allowed to attend live sporting events, and it's a limitation on the capacity amount of fans that are allowed to attend in person. And Frank Warren says this fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury is so huge that it broke numbers for the gates, live gates, right? The revenue. So Frank Warren said that's money that we absolutely cannot risk losing. He says that we cannot have a situation where we don't earn that money. So we can't risk losing that amount of money. So Frank Warren is stating that we have to wait until things clear up. But they lead you to believe that it was Deontay Wilder that was holding up the Trilogy match. He ran out of time. He didn't meet the deadline. And so they had to move on. When in fact, it was anything but the case. This is all on the part of Frank Warren and Tyson Fury that wanted to capitalize on this massive Trilogy showdown, but they'll lead you to believe that Deontay Wilder is irrelevant. But in the same token, Frank Warren and Tyson Fury is telling you how big this fight is, the Trilogy match. Because of how well the second fight did and the first fight did, they're banking on the Trilogy match doing about the same numbers, if not more. And so Frank Warren states that this fight is too big to stage without fans in attendance. But they lead you to believe that Deontay Wilder didn't meet the deadline. And thus the reason why they're moving on to stage an undisputed showdown with fellow countrymen, two-time unified British heavyweight world champion superstar boxer, Anthony Joshua. And because Deontay Wilder is irrelevant and nobody wants to see the Trilogy match. Well, if nobody wants to see the Trilogy match and it's not a big fight and Deontay Wilder is irrelevant, then why did you drag your feet and drop an anchor and state that this fight is too big to stage without fans in attendance? And you can hear on the audio, Tyson Fury says, no, this fight is far too big for us to have without fans in attendance. And Frank Warren states that we have to be able to promote this fight. And if we cannot promote this fight, with this fight being of this magnitude, then we will not have the fight. So essentially, and you hear them say, and they told you that Deontay Wilder was incompetent, right? Deontay Wilder was not reachable. Deontay Wilder wasn't cooperating. They weren't in contact with Deontay Wilder, Shelly Finkel, and Team Wilder. But on the contrary, you hear him state in this leaked audio, you can hear Frank Warren state that, and Tyson Fury state, we've all been in contact. We've all been working to try to find a venue to stage such a massive fight. So we've all been in cahoots. This is what Frank Warren and Tyson Fury states in this leaked audio that we've all been in cahoots. We've all been working together to try to find a venue and the right place to be able to stage the fight along with the right date. But they'll lead you to believe that Deontay Wilder was not available, that Deontay Wilder was just absent, that Team Wilder weren't on the same page as Tyson Fury and Frank Warren. This is what they'll lead you to believe. This is what they'll lead you to say. This is the agenda that they're pushing against Deontay Wilder, that he wasn't available. They couldn't get in contact with him, that they missed the deadline, that they weren't being responsible on their part. But yet you can hear in this audio, Tyson Fury also states, I'm not the only athlete that's having a hard time competing because this is a global pandemic. So I'm not the only one. And guess what? This audio is from October. So the audio you're getting right here is from late September, early October. But they told you that Tyson Fury had to move on because his physical and mental health was at stake and that he couldn't stay inactive. Thus the reason why they were looking to stage a December 5th showdown. So just so he could stay active. And they also let you know that Deontay Wilder and his team was dragging their feet and they could not wait until January or February because that was far too long for Tyson Fury to stay inactive. But yet you can hear Frank Warren and Tyson Fury clearly state in this audio that indeed they were all in contact with one another. They were all working together and they all were had the same understanding that this fight was far too big to stage without fans in attendance. This is what you're going to hear from Frank Warren, and this is what you're going to hear from Tyson Fury. But if you let them tell it, they tell you that it was Deontay Wilder that was simply not cooperating, that he was being irresponsible as far as the business part on his side, that Deontay Wilder simply wasn't focused, that Deontay Wilder didn't meet the deadlines. And so they had to move on. Well, this is a reason why Deontay Wilder took it to mediation, and now it's in arbitration. And now you have Anthony Joshua, who's hesitant to sign on the dotted line to face Tyson Fury because he's not sure if the arbitration is going to rule in favor of Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury would indeed be stripped of the WBC title. Thus, he don't want to lock himself into a fight with Tyson Fury, and then Tyson Fury doesn't even have a belt, so that showdown is not for undisputed. The whole point of having the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua showdown is so that it's for undisputed. There's never been an undisputed British heavyweight showdown on UK soil. And then at the same token, they're saying that that's what makes this fight so big, is that this has never took place. This is creating history. But at the same token, Tyson Fury doesn't even have a boxing license in the UK. He denounced his boxing license in the UK because UKAD, United Kingdom Anti-Doping Agency, is going to launch an investigation as soon as he looks to reinstate his boxing license in the UK after Martin Carefoot, a farmer who was Tyson Fury's quote-unquote alleged alibi when he failed the PED test and for UKAD. And Martin Carefoot said he provided Tyson Fury with wild boar meat, uncastrated wild boar meat, in which Martin Carefoot then came out last March and he stated that he retracted that and stated that he never provided Tyson Fury nor his team nor his cousin Huey Fury with wild boar meat that was tainted, that saw them fail the test. He never even had wild boar meat on his farm. And so UKAD, United Kingdom Anti-Doping Agency, said they're going to launch a fresh investigation into this situation. And Tyson Fury denounced his license in the UK. If he picks up his license, he faces a suspension in the UK. And so therefore, they're looking to stage this fight outside the UK. Okay? Maybe somewhere in Saudi Arabia, maybe in Dubai. But Tyson Fury can't have the fight in the UK. So that kind of beats the purpose as well. But there's a lot of conflicting reports coming out that only one is consistent is Deontay Wilder's report. And Tyson Fury announced that there was an announcement coming soon for him and Anthony Joshua, but yet you heard no announcement, and Anthony Joshua never even alluded to it. And then Tyson Fury doubled back and removed all of these reports from his social media. But let's just listen to what Tyson Fury and Frank Warren had to say regarding the situation with Deontay Wilder, and that they were all on the same page.
You're a sportsman at the top of your game, world champion, and yet at the moment you can't do what you do. And there's no real sign at the moment of when you'll be able to do it. Yes, quite frustrating to be honest with you, Piers, but you know, we're not in this boat alone. I'm not the only athlete on the planet who is not active at the moment. We're all in it together. We're all working as a team to source a date and a venue. Hopefully they'll allow crowds in sooner or later. And we're just all working towards that goal at the moment. Frank, we are seeing a lot of sport continuing behind closed doors. Could you have this fight with nobody there? No, not far that magnitude. No, Tyson.
You just heard Frank Warren. He said, nope, not a fight of that magnitude. And you heard Tyson Fury say that this is a big fight. He's not the only athlete that has to sit on the sidelines because there are no fans in attendance. And Tyson Fury said, hopefully we're waiting until everything clears up and then fans could attend before we stage this fight. And when Frank Warren was just asked, can you stage this fight without fans in attendance? And Frank Warren says no, but let's just keep listening.
Deontay Wilder's last fight was the highest grossing heavyweight fight to take place ever in Vegas. So
he said Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury's last fight was the highest grossing heavyweight fight that took place in Vegas. So there's no way that we can stage this fight without fans in attendance. Keep listening.
We just can't lose that gate money. It was a huge amount of money.
He said we cannot lose that gate money. That's too much of money. That's a huge amount of money for us to lose without fans in attendance. But they told you that it's Deontay Wilder.
So we do need to light gates. So we come up with a scenario where there's a huge...
He said, so we all came up with a scenario. We all. So he's saying that everybody's in cahoots. Everybody's understanding. So that means everybody's in contact. But they told you that Deontay Wilder was not available, that his promoter, his manager, Shelly Finkel, was unavailable, that nobody was in contact with them, right?
Site fee from a territory to take it and use it for promoting their country or whatever.
So he said, so we need to come up with a plan and a site that we could have this fight and we could promote it in their country, meaning the United States, because here in the United States things were closed down. In the UK, things started to ease up. But at this time in the United States, things have still never cleared up. Not in the big cities, not in Vegas, not in New York, not in LA. So things have cleared up in Texas, where we saw Errol Spence. He took on Danny Garcia and they had 16,000 fans, but it's still a cap on it. MGM Grand in Las Vegas holds 17,000 fans. So Errol Spence had 16,000 fans, but it was spread out and doesn't have the same effect. It just doesn't have the same feeling, right? So with that said, things are still closed today's time, right? So Frank Warren is stating that everybody was in contact with one another and everybody was at the understanding that they needed to find a venue. This is why Deontay Wilder has a leg to stand on in mediation and arbitration, because they were all in contact and they understood what was at stake, and they understood the game plan that they could not stage a fight of this magnitude without fans in attendance. And Frank Warren is agreeing that they broke the gate in Vegas, so they cannot afford to lose that amount of money. So you heard it right there yourself. So Tyson Fury and Frank Warren were in contact with Deontay Wilder, Team Wilder, and Bob Arum, and everybody was on board and at the understanding that they could not stage this fight without fans in attendance. And still today, here we are, January 23rd, and these fans still are not allowed to attend in live sporting events. But they'll lead you to believe that it was on Deontay Wilder, that he missed the deadline, and he was irresponsible on his part as far as his business part goes, and thus they had to move on because he let the time expire. But you clearly see that everybody was in cahoots, and they was at the understanding as well on their part that they did not want to allow that amount of money to be able to seep away because it was just too much money. They broke records in Vegas in a heavyweight fight, and they did not want to allow that to go by the wayside. Hear it again.
Tyson, how frustrating is all this for you? You know, you're a world champion. to do it. Yes, quite frustrating to be honest with you, Pierce, but you know, we're not in this boat alone. I'm not the only athlete on the planet who is not active on the
I'm not the only athlete on the planet who's not active due to the pandemic, the social distancing.
We're all in it together. We're all working.
We're all in this together. We're all working together.
As a team to source a date and event.
We're all working as a team to come up with a plan for a date and a venue. But they told you that they weren't in contact with Deontay Wilder, right?
Hopefully they'll allow crowds in sooner or later. And we're just all working towards that goal at the moment.
Hopefully they'll allow crowds in sooner or later. And we are all working together to get to that moment.
Frank, we are seeing a lot of sport continue with no... Deontay Wilder's last fight was the highest grossing heavyweight fight that's taken place ever in Vegas. So we just can't lose that gate money. It was it.
Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury was the highest grossing heavyweight fight in Las Vegas, and we absolutely cannot lose that money. So there you have it. More audio that proves that Deontay Wilder was just simply being avoided in this situation, and he has a leg to stand on in mediation or arbitration, and more than likely they're going to rule in his favor and Tyson Fury be stripped of the title, because Tyson Fury now has admitted that he indeed was in cahoots and in contact with Deontay Wilder, Team Wilder, and everybody was in the same boat, and everybody was paddling towards the same goal. And they saw an opportunity with Anthony Joshua, and they looked to, because they understand the risk they face going into a trilogy match, but they'll lead you to believe he's irrelevant. But they're telling you how big this fight is, so big that they can't risk not having fans there because they don't want to lose that gate. Is he irrelevant or is he not? But they saw the writing on the wall that it's a possibility Tyson Fury going to lose this fight, so they want to secure a fight with Anthony Joshua. There you have it. The proof is in the pudding. Now I'm still waiting for the audio that Deontay Wilder stated that his suit was too heavy, because that seems to be running rampant, even made mainstream media as far as ESPN, but you never heard any audio of Deontay Wilder ever saying that. But we hear Tyson Fury audio. Let's see if we ever get that audio. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.